What's up, everyone? Well, very deflated, I have to be honest. We are back. Great to see you all back as well. But it is after a humiliating loss to Pakistan. Yes, India lost to Pakistan finally in a World Cup match. And I'm sure all of you have also watched it. And it is but obvious that we have to come and express ourselves, just share about what exactly happened, because otherwise I cannot get through the night. I don't know about you guys. Definitely this is not something that we are used to, and I hope we don't get used to ever in our lives. Again, any people from Pakistan watching, as in kudos to you, congratulations. That's what I can say. And before we get into it, anyone watching, do smash that like button because it helps grow the channel. And of course, subscribe if you haven't yet, because we are coming up with a lot more content. As many of you all already know, we were already Almighty Blues FC and then became Almighty Blues Cricket as well. But both the channels have a lot of content, and that is where today, for the first time on Almighty Blues Cricket, we have a panel again to express themselves, and two people whom I genuinely trust and I can share opinions with any day of the week, right? And then, firstly, Prasanna, back to Almighty Blues channel. Great to have you back. Of course, it was meant to be, but definitely not meant after this big loss that we had, Prasanna. First reactions, please.
I mean, um, it's like your heart being punctured, and you're literally every single air, this bit of air is taken out of you. I don't even feel like a mood to rant. It's like I'm so out of energy that I can't rant. That's the thing. It's like, yes, they are. You can't even say the pinpoint one or two things because almost everything went wrong today. So I just hope we can come back in 7 days' time against a team that have been a thorn in our side in ICC events.
Well, thanks for reminding that, Prasanna, because the last time Prasanna was an Almighty Blues channel, it was basically that review. I think for cricket, at least, that we did definitely, the review that we did for the loss against New Zealand. But yes, again, thanks for coming on. Again, Prasanna, like always, has a great channel of his own, covers a lot of football and cricket content. The channel link is below. Takes a second, just a click of a button. Do subscribe, and I would strongly recommend. Having said that, another person that I genuinely trust is Vijay. Vijay for Sports, a great channel as well. He did a watch along today, but we were discussing as the watch along was going on. And Vijay, like we felt it like today, somehow from right from the beginning, India were not in the game and something was missing, right? As in, did it tell you like in the morning when you woke up that it's going to be that day where India will finally lose that record?
Not really. To be honest, I was expecting an India win before we went on into the game. But then, with the way that our openers started the game, I thought, okay, fine, there is something in this game, and we probably might, end up losing it. But I did not expect us losing with this sort of a margin,
Yeah.
and that humiliating loss is something that I cannot still digest. I'm still processing it because we're not used to seeing losing against Pakistan. In a World Cup match, that too, before, with this sort of a margin. So that's something that is kind of I'm still trying to process that, but yeah, I'm still excited
It
about the
is what
World.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I'm still excited about the World Cup. We've got the New Zealand game lined up, and we are, coming from this particular group is not as great as that of the other group that we have in terms of the teams that are in this group. So I genuinely think we would be able to qualify. But then, whenever we talk about the World Cup or any ICC events, right? We've got a couple of things that we have to consider. One is win against Pakistan or win the World Cup or whatever competition that is, right?
Yeah.
Out of this, even if one doesn't happen, I mean, if we don't win the ICC event, that's still fine. But then we don't win against Pakistan, that's kind of hurting, right? Anyways, it is what it is. We cannot do much about it. That's my initial thought or reaction to the game. We'll get into more details as we move forward.
Absolutely, and thanks for sharing that, Vijay. As you say that, like you rightly put, like the start that India very much had, like starting like from the toss and the squad selection, we did cover a preview earlier today as well, as in right in the morning when I was really bright, energetic, and you all, definitely have watched it as well, right? As in Virat Kohli winning the toss is something that I know it's not in our control, but him not winning that toss again, that due factor coming in, those points we kind of covered, him again losing the toss and us going into bat. I don't know what mindset we really were in, because that first over itself, changed things. But even before that, the team selection, right? Prasanna, I'll come to you. I know that it was kind of expected that Hardik Pandya will not be bowling, but despite that, we went in only with five bowlers and with no absolute options at all. That X factor risk that we didn't want to take, and we went in obviously with Bhuvaneshwar Kumar again because the due factor, like we all expected, but maybe Shardul Thakur might have been picked. I don't know. Like Prasanna, what is your take?
I mean, there's this Murphy's Law thing, right? If anything can go wrong, it will. And from start to finish, almost everything went wrong. And I think one thing is, I would have, if Pandya is not bowling, if Pandya is not fit, why even play him? He's not in the greatest of form. On the other hand, you have Shardul Thakur, who's on absolute smoke. He might
Yeah.
give away a few runs, but he also takes wickets, and he can give you a batting add-on as well. And again, um, I was speaking to another channel. I was on another channel this morning, and I was saying, big game. I pick Ravi Ashwin any day of the week. I pick Ravi Ashwin or Varun Chakravarti. You don't want to throw in someone like a Varun Chakravarti into the fire straight away. And Ashwin, with that big game experience, he also bowled well in the warm-ups. It's not that he had a terrible warm-up. He bowled well in the warm-ups. He was economical as well. And openers, I kind of expected that Rohit and Rahul. There was a question for Ishan Kishan, but Rohit and Rahul, everyone was quite happy with. And but even still, even then, um, I thought it was a strong enough team to beat Pakistan, but wasn't to be.
Yeah, well said there because yes, Ashwin playing like again we did cover that in preview as well because Ashwin playing against Fakar Zaman or something that wall could have been an option, but we'll come to that because it never got to that. Like that's the funniest part, right? And then I know that him playing would have changed, could have changed things. That's ifs and buts, as you rightly put, right? Hindsight is a beautiful thing, and we can do that. But like we are laughing at, but trust me, like people watching we are as frustrated and blank as you all would have been because this is a first for any Indian supporter, right? And then in terms of the squad selection, fine. And then let's move on from there. But let's say Pakistan's team, like obviously we'll come to the scores as well. Like you can clearly see, Pakistan won the game with 10 wickets in hand. Yes. And supposedly it is our very first in T20 international cricket that this has happened. It is the highest opening partnership that Pakistan got against India and I don't know, like records galore for Pakistan. That could only be couldn't have got better for them. But in terms of their team, like you can see, like they actually went ahead and announced that well. And this, I think, Heather Ali was the person, I think, if I'm not wrong, who did not play. And as expected, Shoaib Malik, with his experience, was got in. Again, a lot of things can be told about them picking those experienced players. And like Prasanna mentioned about Ashwin, right? I'll come to Vijay here. Vijay, in terms of quick squad selection, like do you see anywhere that India could have, got that X factor change that surprised Pakistan? Like I know again it's easy to say now, but is it something which caused maybe Pakistan to get that confidence, knowing what to expect?
Absolutely. So the way that I see the squad selection, first of all, is that uh, three issues in the squad selection today. You played Ishan Kishan in both the warm-up match. He's played
Hmm.
brilliantly. He's got 50s and everything. So I understand Rohit Sharma has the seniority in the team and his presence is obviously required. But that is where I feel it's fine to slot Rohit Sharma out there, but you could have replaced Ishan Kishan in the spot of Hardik Pandya. Like not way late where Hardik Pandya was playing. If you had to play a batsman, a pure batsman like Hardik Pandya behind Jadeja, right? What does that actually say? I mean, he's not a proper batsman in that case. He's not a proper bowler as well because he's not contributing in terms of bowling department. So
Yes,
he's anyways playing behind Jadeja. That doesn't
interesting.
give you. I mean, it also means that he's not confident in his batting ability, or else you wouldn't have pushed him behind Jadeja,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
true,
if you have
true.
to do that, why not bring in Ishan Kishan, let him play above Jadeja, and then have Jadeja slot in that Hardik Pandya's position? I would have done
Yeah,
that, had it been my call, right? That's one thing. But in the hindsight, we can always, comment on all these things. We all know that it is something that we can do later on in the game. Had it all worked out fine for us, we wouldn't have been talking all these points, right? But again, getting back to the another point in terms of squad selection was that of Ravichandran Ashwin. He played both the warm-up match, and I agree that Varun Chakravarti played in the second warm-up game, but he did not play in this position where he was supposed to play. So what I'm actually getting at is that he started bowling in the second warm-up game in the 15th over,
Yes,
where
that's right.
definitely he's not going to be bowling, right? So 15, 17 was what he was bowling at that particular time, and that is not exactly what he was supposed to do in this match scenario. So you had been using Ashwin for the first two warm-up games, and you wanted him to be, had it not been your option to play Ashwin in the games to be coming in, you needn't have to like play Ashwin in the first two games, right? So you prioritize Ashwin in the warm-up games, and then when it came to the actual game, you slotted in Varun Chakravarti. Maybe a surprise there.
It's a mystery, right? As they say, like, again, sorry to cut you there, but the fact that we also spoke about earlier is about if we have to anyway reveal, Varun Chakravarti's mystery, because in ICC tournaments he hasn't played, and we play Pakistan only in ICC tournaments, right? And that's the
Hmm.
fact. So why even play now? Pakistan is ranked 3. Why not basically continue with tried and tested, and then basically get on Varun Chakravarti later, because of the fact that again Ashwin, he might not be the bowler what he used to be, but at the end of the day, he's someone who has experience of being in the pressure situations. And like you rightly put, Vijay, because Varun Chakravarti doesn't bowl in the first 6 overs and bowl in the first 10 overs even. Like for KKR, we've always seen, and he's not experienced enough in international cricket. Ashwin is someone who actually bowls in that space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would have been a direct replacement, because we were struggling in those initial overs. And again, we'll come to Pakistan's innings in detail, but yeah, quickly, it is directly related to the squad selection. I 100% agree with you there.
And
But yes, yeah, go ahead.
And I had one more issue. The third point that I wanted to mention was on Shami's selection. So for me, Shami is a player who can contribute in terms of the wicket, but I don't see Shami opening the bowling for us. Neither is he effective in the death overs. Right?
Yeah.
You have a paceman who cannot contribute in terms of batting, but at the same time who cannot bowl the first 6 overs in the power play. At the same time, he cannot bowl in the death as well. That's basically a liability for you. You should
Yeah, but
have someone
yeah,
who
please
can
go ahead. Please
contribute
continue.
on either of these sections. And that is where I saw maybe Shami wasn't the right option. Having Deepak Chahar would have at least gotten you the 3 overs, that swing in the initial 3 overs, and probably you could have replaced Bhuvneshwar Kumar with Shradul Thakur, and got your death overs sorted there, because he is good in the death overs as well. He's got a lot of variations when it comes to the death overs. He's got the knuckle ball, off cutters, leg cutters, and everything that he can mix it up, and he's good at mixing it up. Given the experience that he had with Dhoni in the past as well, he could have been a bit better fit in the death than having Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who just relies on the Yorker at this point in time, because he's not got the pace. During the initial setup, when Bhuvneshwar Kumar started in the bowling department for India back in 2011 or something, where he's got that 130 kilometers per hour swinging in swinging deliveries, away swinging deliveries, and all that. And then he started increasing a lot of pace, in his bowling. And what that happened was that the swing was negated, and then he started increasing the pace, and he became like a regular bowler, like a Umesh Yadav or someone, right, who just relies on the pace only. And so he's basically not in good form. He's just given out 4 overs, 53 runs in the first warm-up game, and you want him to be slotted in the first match. I don't
Exactly.
understand the logic behind it. And there was some mistakes in the squad selection, but everything in hindsight can be discussed, and we can always go about it. But it is what it is. It's done and dusted. But there's a lot of things that India has to ponder over.
Yeah, obviously we'll come to detail, once we go into that section as well. But yes, I do have a couple of points that I kind of agree with you, but a couple of points that I slightly disagree. But yeah, I still totally hear, and quick, ending on that squad selection point, because I actually just watched. I don't know if you guys watched, anyone watching the stream as well. Uh, I watched the press conference that Virat Kohli had after obviously the post match ceremony, and in that he was actually questioned about squad selection, and Virat Kohli's reaction was like as though he owns the world. Like, I understand this guy is like, again, we don't want to be overreacting, we don't want to kind of just rant for the sake of it, but the fact that as a captain of India, and I know it's not easy, it's very difficult and all that, but at the end of the day, you are captaining Indian cricket team, right? You have basically bottled in ICC tournaments, and that's a fact. He's literally bottled as a captain. Like, that's he has to agree no matter what. He's literally bottled, and for him to react that way, Like, as though, like, how dare you ask me that question? Like, come on, like, a journalist is there to ask a question, and the person asked about squad selection is Rohit Sharma's squad selection. Fair enough. So Virat Kohli was like, Rohit Sharma, the best, ODI white ball player that there is, and you really want me to drop him, like something like that. And that was kind of telling the attitude that Virat Kohli feels like, even if you even remember again, you all can see behind. Yes, I put RCB, flags and jerseys still, because for me at this point in time, even that is more positive than India losing to Pakistan. Like, I'll just be honest, blatantly out there. He is an RCB person, and I am in love with the guy. But the fact that this guy feels that he owns the world, when he was playing for RCB, when he started the season, he said, "Oh, I'm going to open the batting entire season for RCB because I'm planning to open for India." Like, who is he to decide on his own? First of all, he is Indian cricket team captain. He has to basically, yes, the final say is his, but he cannot just decide on his own. Like, that's how it comes across to me. Again, people watching, do comment if you feel otherwise. But yeah, we have to definitely move on, because start of the innings, and Vijay and Prasanna obviously have alluded to a couple of points. India's innings, like the first 6 overs, or rather the first 3 overs, changed the entire game, or rather, was the main thing in the game. Like, really speaking, like, the attitude was there to see for the difference in attitude, right? Prasanna, did Shaheen Afridi remind you of Wasim Akram or Muhammad Amir? Like, for me, those swinging ball that Vijay spoke about, like, the swing is something that Pakistan, I don't know what they do, man. Like, they will not get rid of the swing bowlers no matter what. Like, they've got one world class bowler. Don't you think so?
And before even that, the thing you spoke about Kohli in this press conference. I mean, it would be much easier to say it that yes, Rohit Sharma is my preferred opener, but he got out a very good delivery, and
Yeah,
that's a standard way of saying it. But that's a fact.
exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like he kind of contradicts himself. But sometimes he says, "I'm going to open the batting," but then Ishan Kesal comes out and tells, "Oh, Kohli told I'm opening." Mm, doesn't add up here.
Exactly. As in, you hit the nail on the head, because again, it is in the mindset. I think there's some problem in the mindset. Those left hand, right hand combinations, openings number three. And then he came when four deliveries were bowled. Just when four deliveries were bowled, Virat Kohli came. Might as well open. Like, come on. It's all in the mind. Number three, four. Like, come on. And then I know that I've not played international cricket, but I've played, decent level cricket that's in the state. So I know what I'm speaking to some extent. Like, definitely, uh, it's in the mind, and it's an excuse sometimes, but at the end of the day, they are players who also face a lot, so we have to give it to them as well. But
See,
yeah,
the
I
thing
think
is,
coming.
sorry, cut off that. See, the thing is, wherever you have played cricket, but be it district level or state level, even if you're playing in local tournaments, the cricket is the same. Only the
Yeah,
levels are different.
exactly.
So, and yeah, we spoke about Indian innings. One thing which I was fearing Rohit Sharma against Shaheen Shafiri, because Rohit Sharma against left arm pacers never a great record. He struggled against Mohammad Amir and he struggled against left arm pacers as well. First ball nailed on Yorker, plumb in front. I mean, that set the tone here for them, and they didn't look back after that.
Yeah, as in, yeah, again, like, we have to kind of give credit to Pakistan there, because and then it was very clear, right? I mean, they came with a plan. Like, they knew exactly where to bowl at Rohit Sharma, and knowing what Rohit Sharma is, an Indian team think tank, a great team think tank in terms of the size, as well as what they've achieved in their careers. I'm sure they also know what is Rohit Sharma's minus points, right? And knowing that, again, left arm seamers, and especially someone who swings the ball, a swinging ball is something that our openers and even Virat Kohli is something we are not really great at. So again, it's just not him. Even KL Rahul, I know those are great deliveries, but at the end of the day, they should be a little bit more prepared. And even in the first 6 overs, then I think probably I'll come to Vijay, because Vijay, you have to give Virat Kohli some credit, because the way that he played in those first 6 overs was probably the example for the other batsmen at the other end, because he was definitely, for a change, not playing across the line what he used to do for RCB in the entire season, and that was very clear that what one had to do. And again, Surya Kumar Yadav had a great start, but again, it was not as in not a set of conditions where you go high, very hard in the first 6 overs, especially batting first. It was very clear to see. Maybe the better approach would have been for us to just save wickets and then go for it. Vijay, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. So before getting into that particular segment of Kohli and Surya Kumar Yadav picking up the Indian innings, right? I just wanted to add a couple of points to the initial segments onto the toss and then what happened with Rohit Sharma, right? I just wanted to add a couple of points out there. First thing is, the way that Kohli reacted, he was putting a lot of blame into the due factor as well when it came towards the end. Maybe we'll take that due factor discussion later in the second innings when we discuss about that. But Rohit's selection, it's pretty much known to us that Rohit's selection is going to be there. Like he is going to be our opener for this game. And Kohli playing as an opener, I'll tell you why Kohli wants to play as an opener. Okay. Maybe as an RCB fan, you want to look at it from a different perspective. But then seeing Kohli for these many years, this is how I look at it. When Kohli is out of form, right, and he has issue with pace bowlers bowling at the fifth stump line. Okay, if it is in the English conditions, swinging outside. That's with respect to pace bowlers. And if it comes to spinners, he's got issue with the block hole deliveries, the ball that comes in when off spinners ball in, ball to the pitch and then spins in and a few go straight. Right, that's where he has trouble. So what essentially he's trying to do is trying to negate that spin and also the swing. And that is essentially why he wants to play in the initial over, where he thinks he can pick up more runs in the power play over because there's going to be two fielders outside the circle. Yeah, 6 overs power play. We can, hit more boundaries and then probably get that start so that we can get it going. Because Kohli is someone who plays at a strike rate of 100 or 120 maximum, not more than that. He's not like Hardik Pandya or Rishabh Pant who plays at 200 strike rate. So if Kohli has to carry on with the innings, he has to face a lot of deliveries as well, right? So he has to probably play that 100 or 120 strike rate, and for that he has to come and slot himself at the opening because it gives him more time. And for Indian players to see Kohli on the other end will give a lot of confidence for them to play their free flowing innings. But there is also a downside to it because we've seen a lot of cases where the openers are the captains of the teams and the teams never win. Consider back from Graeme Smith, right?
Yeah.
The reason why they don't win is because the captains is expected to perform a lot. And when the captains during the initial games, if they don't perform, like if they get out for a duck or like for a negligible score, the team instantly becomes under pressure. The batting unit instantly becomes under pressure. So that is where someone like Dhoni or maybe someone who's batting deep in the order can, Jan Morgan, these people, they can they can hold the innings together even after 3-4 quick wickets falling down. That is exactly where you want your captain to bat.
And you can
at,
strategize
not
also, right? Because they are like sitting in the dugout and they are probably planning the
exactly.
next. And you're not basically in the heat, right? You're basically in the cool and basically thinking. And then that's a great point. Like I would agree to 100%. But only thing difference here is Vijay. Like today, Kohli was there on the fifth ball, so he was
Exactly.
literally so for him basically he was getting what he wanted to do. I know that
Hmm.
it's easier for us to kind of analyze, but for him, he was basically in his space what he likes to do. And today, like I was going on the lines of actually commending him for this part. I know that first point what we discussed, I
Exactly.
would go
So
with
the
this.
reason why I brought that up was because I wanted to, commend his efforts on this particular batting. And since you said right, we were, I mean, Kohli got this particular order in the fourth ball or something because he came into the batting. This actually facilitated the way that he wanted to play, be it opening or one down. He was there in the first over itself, and that is exactly what he wanted. And he probably used that chance to play that, right? So in a way that this is something that he wanted to get, and he carried on with that, in a very good form. I mean, the wicket was a bit too paced, if you ask me. It was not coming on to the bat as great as what we would have expected in the first 10 overs at least of the batting. Maybe after that it started coming on to the bat better, but then initially it was kind of very difficult for the batsmen to make shots out of it. We saw that with KL Rahul getting confused if he had to go for the front foot or the back foot in that particular delivery. And left arm seamers, like you said, for Rohit Sharma, Kohli, Rahul, and everyone, right? He's not just a left arm seamer. He can also swing the ball both the ways. Shaheen Afridi is someone who can swing the ball both the ways, and that is exactly where Rohit Sharma gets confused. We've seen this plenty of times where the ball swings into the batsman, and then he gets it on his pad, and then he gets out. We've seen this plenty of times, and he gets confused only if the bowler can bowl both the swings, and Shaheen Afridi can do that, right? And probably I really hope this doesn't get repeated again from Rohit Sharma, because he's an intelligent batsman. He can work on his
Yeah,
mistakes and come back stronger. But this is not something Kohli would be getting each and every single match as well, like coming into the batting crease at the second over or third over, because these batsmen have been on the top of the game in IPL as well, and so they're going to carry on from there. Coming to the formation, coming to Surya Kumar Yadav and Kohli taking the game from there, they did a good job. Kohli played good as well, but Surya Kumar Yadav, in my opinion, should have taken the game a lot more deeper than he did.
yeah,
That put a bit of pressure on Rishabh Pant coming in to the crease, because it was already 3 down when he came into the crease. Had it been like 12 overs, 13 overs that Surya Kumar Yadav had extended his innings, and he had that ability as well, and he was getting the ball good onto the bat. So in a way that he could have extended it to 13 overs, and then we could have seen Rishabh Pant coming and hitting those boundaries and sixes that he does usually. But maybe that Surya Kumar Yadav's wicket came a bit more quicker, that facilitated the entire collapse for us from there.
right. And then again, as in 6 overs, I think if I'm not wrong, we were like 36 for no, as in obviously for 2 wickets, but that's something that we had to build on. And Surya Kumar Yadav got a great start, but again, he was trying to kind of get that extra run, and that's how kind of he became out. But coming to Prasanna, I don't know about you, Prasanna, but for me, like I was literally watching every over, and over by over, I could see when Rishabh Pant came into bat, like he was getting in that mold. I know he got a couple of sixes off one hand, and that only Rishabh Pant, can probably do. And I think if I'm not wrong, those are almost back-to-back sixes in a single over. And then the spinner came on. I think it was Shadab Khan, if I'm not wrong, and he was only playing sweep. That was the only shot that he was playing, irrespective of it, pitching outside leg or pitching within the stumps or being it short, or he was trying either the reverse sweep or the conventional sweep shot. And I was literally mentioning it to him, like one of these balls will definitely go in the air, and the next ball it happened, Prasanna. Again, just like Surya Kumar Yadav, he was doing well in terms of being effective the way he is, but those extra couple of overs, just knowing the fact that Hardik Pandya is not in form, could have basically got us that extra maybe 20 runs, and could have given that extra motivation to the bowlers. I don't know if that makes sense.
And well, we say Rohit Sharma against left arm openers. I just realized he faces Trent Bolt next week. God save my mercy. Phew.
Yeah, and then let's discuss Rishabh Pant for now. But yeah, then we can
I
kind
think
of.
Surya Kumar Yadav, he started well. He got a 6, he got a 4, and that is basically his game. His game is to attack. He doesn't. He wants to kind of score every ball. That's what we see in the IPL as well. Even in the Sri Lanka series where he played, he looked to score off every ball. He knew where the fielders were. He wanted to score every ball. But that is a kind of a downside as well to his game. And the way he got out, I felt he kind of like threw his wicket away. That was so disappointing to see. And then it did put extra pressure on Rishabh Pant and Kohli as well. Pant, I felt he started a bit slow, but he grew into the game, and he got them sixes going, and he was also scoring those twos, finding the gaps, scoring those twos with Kohli. And I was thinking, okay, we're doing something here. We're about to build something. And as Rishabh Pant always does, that thing to hit to hit sixes always always gets to him. I don't know, man. It's just like you think in the Australia series that he has got rid of the attitude that he needs to hit a six literally every fifth or sixth ball, but slowly it's coming back to him, and this is not the time you want to see him going into that mood. And he was batting well. I mean, he should have stayed longer without Kohli. And after that, Jadeja and Pandya coming in, they didn't really get going. To be fair, Pandya looked all over the place. Jadeja didn't look as fluent as he was. So that's the thing, when your batsman lose your wicket at the wrong time, this is what happens. And even Kohli couldn't get going at the end. Yes, he scored a 50, but his strike rate, what was his strike rate? I don't even think it was past 130 or
No,
something.
that's the difference, right? So that's what I mentioned earlier. Like while a lot of things that I spoke about Kohli being negative today, and generally it's about his captaincy, but in terms of batting, right? As in he has actually overcome what he did not do for RCB in this season. For this match at least, right? So what he did is, I think if I'm not wrong, let me just go into it. I didn't make a note of it because this was interesting. He was, yes, you're right. He was 30 of 30 deliveries, but then you see here he basically got 57 of 49 in the end, and obviously he was accelerating at the right time. But the fact that he didn't have anyone like at the other end who he could rely on more, maybe is the reason why he took those extra couple of deliveries. And obviously Pant, what Pant is, we all know. Jadeja also surprisingly wasn't really getting going. I think he just got a single boundary, like you can see, right? As in, maybe that is why kind of made Kohli accelerate, but he eventually did the job. What maybe was Pant and Jadeja's role. Again, Hardik Pandya not coming in early was surprising, but I think one quick positive highlight is the overthrow that happened towards the end, and I have to definitely get us back into some smiling mode because it's kind of getting serious. But yeah, as in anyway, people watching, do like and share the stream so that we have more discussion, and comment your views. What do you think about India's innings in particular? But yeah, then obviously India's end was not bad, and I think at the end of the day, the total that India got, we did cover in the preview. Again, the link is below. We did mention clearly that 155 was the par score, so 156 on paper at least was good enough. And again, these are players who are like international level top class bowlers, right? As in we played only with 5 bowlers, but we probably should have implemented better. And then coming to obviously Pakistan innings, right? And the more we speak about is basically more torture, simply put. But Vijay, as in we did speak about briefly though on the swinging conditions and what Bhuvneshwar Kumar kind of gets to the team and what he's not got recently. uh, I think the only thing, correct me if I'm wrong, the only thing that Bhuvneshwar Kumar probably gets in today's day and age is his some swing bowling. I know he's not what he used to swing, like you said, but where I kind of disagreed is basically the only thing that he really, really gets to the team in terms of getting breakthroughs is that potential little bit more swing compared to a Shami or a Bumrah with a new ball, right? And that is what actually I know he went for two boundaries in that first over, but 4 out of those 6 deliveries did swing. And Virat Kohli, he has his rule, or maybe I don't know. I know I'm kind of blaming too much on Virat Kohli, but it might be the team think tank. There is some rule of what in T20 cricket that you have to change every over. You have to make changes so that the left right combination. What come on, like you have to first do the basics right. And if you get someone to swing the white ball little bit that none of the Indian bowlers were not getting and Bhuvneshwar Kumar was getting, why take him off? Like the very third over, I think we lost the game both in bowling and as well as in batting. I don't know, Vijay, do you agree with that?
I do. I do. So the thing is, for me, Deepak Chahar could have been a better pick. But if at all Bhuvneshwar Kumar was getting that swing, you allow him to continue for another over so that he gets his line and length more perfectly. Like we've all played cricket in our younger age, right? When we come to bowling crease, I've been a wicket keeper, so predominantly I don't know much about bowling. But then I've heard from my teammates that whenever they bowl, right, they want continuously 2 or 3 overs to get together because they want that rhythm, right? And it makes more sense for them to get that rhythm because every time your body wouldn't be that warmed up and you wouldn't get to that crease. When you get things going, just let them go with the flow. That is how I put it. Like if I were the captain, I would have decided the same way. Just get them going, give them a couple of overs, because you also know for a matter of fact that you just need 1 or 2 overs from Bhuvneshwar Kumar towards the end, and you don't even know if this match is going to go till 20 overs, right? So why not do that? Like give him the third over, try to get something out of that. I still think if he was continuing in the third over, we could have got an initial breakthrough.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's all in the hindsight. But um, yeah, Deepak Chahar would have been a better pick for me because he can extract more swing in from the pitch than Bhuvneshwar Kumar at this particular instance, because we've seen how much Bhuvneshwar Kumar can do, but then it was all back in 2011. So if it was my pick, I would have gone for Deepak Chahar than Bhuvneshwar Kumar because of the swing that he's able to extract at this given moment in time. Maybe he went with the experience, and the experience backfired.
Yeah, you can obviously say that in hindsight, and I agree with you definitely. Like for me, I think maybe Prasanna also touched upon earlier, right? I know Deepak Chahar is basically a great call in hindsight. Now that we see that he brings something totally different than the other bowlers, right? That's something that we need, especially with five bowlers. We need the variety. So Prasanna, quick question. Like again, I know that Varun Chakravarti bowled out his 3 overs. I think in the first 12 overs, if I'm not wrong, which is so unlike Varun Chakravarti. But what would you have made in those middle overs, right? I again, like a lot of changes were made in those middle overs. Nothing worked. But would you have even tried like something totally out of the extraordinary? Like if you are maybe 100 for no loss, the opposition, why not even Rohit Sharma, Kohli bowling? Like I'm just kind of putting it out there.
And that was one of the problems with not having uh, with Pandya not bowling. I actually said in another show earlier that if God forbid these five bowlers they don't do well, you should have a sixth option to get you something. And in my opinion, Shardul Thakur is that perfect sixth option, if not a third or fourth option, because
Yeah, yeah. The
whether he
tenacity
give
he has, right?
whether he can give runs, he can go for four or sixes, but he gets you that one wicket, at
Yeah.
least one wicket. I mean, we even saw in the IPL final the score was going well, 1 over, 2 wickets. The game was done there, and that is what he can do for you. And I don't want to keep I don't want to bring Dhoni into this because it's and the thing with Dhoni is when he sees something, if it go yes, this one got on top of him. The third ball six, that was quite extraordinary. The way he got and just pulled it over, that was like, dude, this is the third ball already. And but he got four balls to swing. If Dhoni had seen that as a captain, he would have continued with Bhuvi. I don't know what's with some of these day captains that when they see something is not working, they want to chop and change immediately.
Maybe. But I have a question because again, we know Chennai Super Kings fan as well. Like knowing Dhoni in and out. Now that he's a mentor, right? Again, we don't know. We can only speculate here. But obviously, in a T20 match, there are a couple of breaks, and I'm sure, like at the international level, these guys are smart enough to send that message if there is any. Like I'm sure there must have been some messages. Again, I have to quote here. I am just putting a speculation out there, may or may not be. But as in, do you think what's your gut like again? Do you think that Dhoni would have actually said that, and it's Virat Kohli and his, I have to say his ego or his basically confidence or overconfidence. Again, there was a question in the press conference about overconfidence as well. Again, he reacted the similar manner. So, do you see that kind of thing possibly being there? Is that something that we can do as a team to kind of neglect that or not neglect that? As in, what can be the approach? Because we have to change games midway, and T20 games run basically very fast, so those messages are very crucial in middle overs, right?
Yeah, and there is only so much that a coach or a mentor can push into you. It's basically up to what you do on the field. You are experienced enough at a certain level. You have played IPL, you have played on this ground. You should be knowing better on what to do. And sometimes Kohli's ego just gets the better of him. And if you see in most of Kohli's captaincy games, it's Kohli the batsman that has overshadowed Kohli the captain
Yeah,
in some of them games. As a batsman, he's superb, he's brilliant.
yeah.
Nobody's taking anything away out of it. But as a
Even today.
captain, I'm sorry, I'm not with it. I mean, at least in crunch game situations like this, he's not your captain. And even I love Kohli. We all love Kohli, and we all want him to do well. We all want him to win the World Cup. It's his last stint as
Yeah.
captaincy. After this, probably it will be going to Rohit Sharma. But some of his decisions are truly baffling. And even then, I mean, I'm so lost for words here. I mean, that's not me. I'm not generally a person who's lost for words. But
Yeah, I totally get it
in
because
general,
as in, yeah. So
there's only
one thing that
some
I would like to add,
a coach,
Prasanna, is
mentor are there to guide you. They
yeah.
cannot do your job on the field. It's basically like in a footballer manager. He can say this, he can say that, but it's all up here. All
Yes.
your mentality on the field. If your mentality is right, you may try different things, it may not work. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But
No, but the point that
If
I
I
was
can,
trying to make,
uh,
quick point. Sorry, just
yeah,
adding to
yeah, go on.
Prasanna point before I forget. Right. So he mentioned about Kohli and as a mindset, right? And then the opposition had Babar Azam batting. So we all know Babar Azam, and whether we like it or not, there is basically a cricketing ego, a cricketing rivalry that will always be there in the top five batsmen in the world, whether we like it or not. Babar Azam, he looks up to Kohli, but the fact that he's there, I don't know whether it's something that blinded Kohli, and for him not to go for that extra option, for him to basically show that okay, I have basically my plans and I will go with it, or maybe Babar Azam is simply the better, as in terms of someone who's implementing better. Again, I don't want to overreact. I know it's just one game T20 match, anyone can win or lose, but the fact that it's in a World Cup and this is basically a format that we covered in the preview, there's only two teams in the group will go to semis. So every match is very crucial. But yeah, as in, I don't know whether Babar Azam comes into picture here. Vijay, please add your point as well.
Yeah, so for me, thinking about this game, a couple of points that comes to my mind is that one, I'm sorry, I'm taking it back a bit, to actually, get my point through. Sachin is a different material and Ganguly is a different material. When you try
Hmm.
to combine both of it, it doesn't work. It didn't work for even Sachin. He's the god of the cricket, and for him it didn't work, right? And he knew it straight away this was not for him. That's exactly how Ganguly got his captaincy, right? Both of it has different demands, has different demands from the player and as a captain, right? So when you try to combine both of it, maybe it's adding too much pressure on someone like Kohli, who's already hyped up and is already fired up every time. It kind of gives him a lot of emotions at that particular point in time, and maybe he's not able to react the right way that he would want to. And another point that I wanted to just mention on this is, if you guys remember the Delhi versus KKR, I guess it was KKR game. I'm not sure. Delhi versus KKR or RCB game. In the qualifiers though, like in the the top four one, where Rishabh Pant handed the ball to Avesh Khan instead of Kagiso
Oh
Rabada, and he
yes,
actually had an over, right?
yes,
Uh,
yes.
you could compare the same instance with what has happened today, because Dhoni was out and Ricky Ponting was out there as well, right? But Ricky Ponting was not the deciding authority, though he was he was supposed to be that person who was supposed to coach Rishabh Pant into grooming him as a better captain and all that. It was an in-game decision, and you would trust your captain to make those in-game decisions and not your mentors or coaches who are probably outside watching the game, because they can only, like how Prasanna mentioned, they can only advise on the game. Those who are in the pitch know the game better, and they would want to at some point stop handholding and let them make those decisions in the game. And that's exactly what happened today as well. Dhoni was outside, probably looking at all this, but he couldn't have made that in-game decision, and it would have put down Virat Kohli's ability as a captain as well, and he wouldn't want to interfere. Dhoni, knowing the character who he is, he wouldn't want to interfere those in-game decisions rather, unless and of course it was absolutely necessary. And I don't think so that this particular decision of bringing back Bhuvaneshwar Kumar was like something that is absolutely necessary, because we had options. We had options, and even Varun Chakravarti could have come there and picked up a breakthrough. It could have worked better as well. So it was all like a trial and an error method. It did not work, so it's become an error now. Had it worked out successfully, we would have called for a success, right? Anyways, couple of points that I just wanted to add there. I just made those points, and apart from that, talking about the Babar Azam factor, let's have one thing clear. Dubai is not our home pitch, but it
no.
had been Pakistan's home pitch for the last 10 years. They've played most of their crickets there only, right? Like Babar Assam, I don't even know if he's played cricket in Lahore, Rawalpindi, and all those international crickets, because international cricket by that time did not even happen at Pakistan. So he is someone who's just playing in his home ground at this point in time. Let's have that clear. So he's got his advantage. Last couple of years, not even couple of years, like just last 1 year is when Pakistan have started moving into their home ground and they started playing there. But otherwise, it's predominantly been in Dubai, UAE, and all those places. So it's almost like close to being a home for them. We've just been to UAE in the last couple of years because of the different situations. So it's difficult for us to compare Babar Assam and Virat Kohli, who's of different age category as well. Kohli in 32 now, and Assam towards 25 or 27, probably around that. So he's probably looking up to Kohli as a batsman, but at the same time, Kohli shouldn't be afraid of Babar Assam or the performance that he's putting forward, because they both are at different stages in their career and they both have different aspirations and goals for themselves. So I wouldn't necessarily think, okay, this decision was made because Babar Assam was in the was in his mind and he was planning for all that. No, had it been Steven Smith, I could have probably said the same. But this is Babar Assam. This is not Steven Smith, right? So for me, maybe Babar Assam would have been someone who could have played in Virat Kohli's mind as a batsman, but not as a captain.
Yeah, good point. And then again, a great point that I think Vijay makes is about the venue, right? As in, again, we did cover in that preview, and this was one of the major factors where, despite technically it being an India-based tournament and then moving to UAE, it kind of became Pakistan became the hosts. That's what I would like to say, because in between the game, like, I don't know about you all, again, people watching, do comment. What do you feel about it? I feel that. That kind of also kind of demotivates especially say Surya Kumar Yadav or such kind of people in the field, like, who's usually very upbeat, because Pakistan jitega, Pakistan jitega was actually heard in the ground, and that was after years that we were hearing just as Indian spectators. Like, again, we can speculate about how much it would have worked, but it kind of goes in negative psyche. And even bowlers, right? Again, coming back to the conditions, Prasanna, again, Pakistan innings towards the latter half of the innings. I know that things have changed in T20 cricket, and Delhi is a team that Vijay mentioned. We all know what happened Delhi versus KKR, and the match that Vijay referred to. And then things can change, but Shami coming back and him bowling those full tosses, no balls, and then those are things. Again, it's easy for us to say sitting here, but and I know that there is a due factor, but supposedly, even during those warm-up games that happened, Kohli was actually taking time off as much as possible here and there to actually face left-arm seamers, face balls with water on them, and that's something that we hear every time. That's something that they prepare for. Is it enough of an excuse to just basically say that there was due and no? As in, honestly, like, again, I haven't played cricket the highest level, and I'm sure, like, people on the panel also would agree that even if I played on matting wickets, right? As in, even on matting wickets, things don't happen much, but there is a way to deal with things, and you have to basically adjust to the situation. I wouldn't have played even what more than a decade what Kohli has done, maybe, or half a decade only on matting wickets, but even half a decade, we kind of knew how to adjust to it, and that was something that was expected from us. So would it be fair for us to actually expect, Prasanna, that these bowlers should be knowing how to grip the ball better? And you picked a seamer because a spinner couldn't have played in the due conditions. So why can't a seamer be expected to do better with that due ball?
I mean, it's a thing, right? Um, People keep saying due factor, due factor. That's why we didn't play. I mean, there is due,
Yeah.
and you are full-time cricketers. You're not like us. We are just pastime cricketers. We play on our weekend because we want to play the game we love. That's it. We just play. We don't even analyze it much, and we just go home. We do our work in the week, and then we just meet up again in the weekend, and we just play. There's going to be due, so you have to deal with it. It's like saying, I don't want to. It's like kind of changing the sport. It's like saying you're coming up against a team who parks the bus, and then to say, oh, they parked the bus, so that's why they didn't score. Dude, they're going to park the bus. It's not rocket science. You know what is going to happen. And
Love that.
exactly, you know what is going to happen. And you hear teams trying to practice bowling with wet balls and whatnot. But I feel that Pakistan batsmen had it easy because we didn't even test them. I mean, I didn't even I couldn't remember an instance in a game where we look like taking a wicket,
Exactly. That is the
and
whole point
that
I'm
is
making.
the hard part.
Yeah. So I don't know. Credit has to be definitely given to Pakistan. Again, we don't want people watching. I know eight of you are watching. Please do comment because there is a lot to be discussed. Again, we might be seeming like we are overreacting, but trust me, I personally, I'm just speaking for myself. I cannot speak for the panel. For me, I am fed up of us bottling in ICC tournaments. I am really fed up. Like I know it is basically us having a bad luck about us, getting that very first match against Pakistan. It was huge build up. I myself built it up on the channel. I'll be honest. I must have sent about
Everyone
10
builds it
tweets.
up. It's not
Yes,
new.
yes, and we are playing them after 2.5 years. And even in that post-match, interview, I know it's very easy for us to say, but you are Indian captain. You cannot just say easily that, hey, the better team won on the day, and that's what it is. You lost to Pakistan. You have to be basically, responsible for what you did. Trust me. I know we don't want to be overreacting like Pakistan does. If the same thing would have happened in Pakistan, which has happened for many, many times together, this one loss is reason enough for you to lose captaincy. We don't want to be reacting that way either. But that is the whole point. Like we actually losing to Pakistan in the way that we lost, and us, like Prasanna mentioned, we did not even look like taking that wicket. Despite that, we are going with five bowlers and we're playing Hardik Pandya, after Jadeja. As in, what logic is that? Why do we even require a billion population? Why do we require so many selections and whatnot when we have only these five matches to prove ourselves? Not even five. We had only Pakistan and New Zealand. We know that other teams we will beat in the group. We should be beating unless it's a 2007 50 over World Cup losing to
The
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh one.
But exactly, we should be beating them. So and New Zealand
I
is
don't
our
count
OD team.
Afghanistan out, bro. I'm
No,
not
but
counting Afghanistan out.
oh yeah, as now now that you remind me, definitely because Afghanistan, trust me, guys, everyone watching, Afghanistan basically is a great T20 side. Yeah, as in we saw what happened in the earlier match today, right? In between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Any team on the day can do well, and for us, basically, we have to be there. We cannot just say, "Hey, it's the first match in the tournament; it happens." We don't have time for that. As in, this is not the time. Now it's literally we are in a do or die situation, and at the end of the day, we all know what happened. Again, people who join in late, we lost by 10 wickets, and I am repeating that because we need to remind ourselves to pull our socks up for that next game. That's something that is required, and hard questions need to be asked. Again, people watching Almighty Blues FC or Almighty Blues cricket do know that I am not one who reacts this way. Like Prasanna, Vijay, I'm sure you guys agree as well, right? As in, definitely we believe in having a very rational way of approaching the things, but this is a tournament where unfortunately it has become a knockout tournament starting next match for us. That's how tough it is now because
Agreed.
only two
Agreed.
teams go, and for us to basically not basically take things by the scruff of the neck. And again, sorry to take a lot of screen time here, guys, but one thing that I noticed again, one of the interviews, those little things kind of tell you the level of motivation that one is. Indian team, I know the IPL is a very high pressure situation. A lot of players, again, congratulations, unfortunately, to Chennai Super Kings, and fortunately for Prasanna, and a lot of people supporting them. But some people in the team kind of won a big tournament recently, and that can also be a negative thing. Again, Ravindra Jadeja not going for that huge sixes that he would have. Trust me, like I'm kind of like, possibly creating a controversy, but I didn't see him actually even go for those shots, in the initial 10 balls that he faced. Only, I think, in the 11th ball, he finally got a boundary. Those little things is a body language. It's not about us actually getting the runs or getting the wickets. It's about us wanting or giving our level best. Varun Chakravarti is a great example. Like, I would actually comment him. I don't know if you guys saw. He actually went for that boundary save that in the very initial overs. He almost kind of twisted his shoulder, which would have been like a career threatening thing. And especially for a guy like Varun Chakravarti coming so late in his career, for playing for
Also
India,
having a
it would have
history of
been
injury.
exactly, and that would have been an example. Like I don't know whether we are looking at those little things. Maybe Pakistan kind of sides, I would say that they have a great opportunity here because they are having a lot of youngsters who have not been in this stage. Our players are playing at the biggest stage a bit too many times. For them, it's basically almost, it seemed like today. I don't know. I don't want to kind of say always, but today for me it seemed like they were almost like taking things for granted, and that should not happen even for a single over, right? As in, I don't know, Prasanna, please add.
I mean, they say when we say Kohli does this, Kohli does that, people are saying, "Oh, you're criticizing Kohli. He's a national captain. No, you should not criticize him." Like, please, come on. I mean, when we praise them, we don't. When we praise them, we are all on the same page. But
Yeah,
when we
he's
could,
great.
but when we say, but sorry, but when he didn't do well, we say he didn't do well. It's as simple as that. The facts are there in
Yeah,
front of us.
I think, yeah, again, I put up the poll, Prasanna, and I know that many of you all did vote for that. For me, the surprising vote was highest for the squad selection. While I kind of agree, and we did speak about, like, again, people who joined late do watch first half of the stream. A lot was discussed on the squad selection, what could have been used in the initial overs, and of course, smash that like and subscribe, because we need discussions like this. Otherwise, the more voice we actually give out to the outside world is what we may reach. I don't know. But in terms of basically Kohli, the fact that I think in terms of squad selection, yes, we discussed that. But apart from that, I think the body language, right? And that's something that I think maybe our middle order batsmen, or maybe the lower order batsmen, is something that they could show on the field. Like, again, that is something that we can only kind of expect from this team. And I don't know, any major changes that Vijay you would make for that next game.
If it was it was with me, I would have gone, or I would probably go with Deepak Chahar and Shardul Thakur back in the squad. For me, Shardul Thakur also contributes with the bat to an extent, and probably Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Hardik Pandya out of the squad. Try and bring in Ishan Kishan. That's probably what I'd do. But if you ask me if the Indian team is going to go ahead and do this, I don't see them doing that, because let's be honest here. It's
Process.
just, yeah. Let's be honest here. To an extent, this is just one game, right? And end of the day, they'll just say that it's just one game. We cannot decide things on just one game. We will have to give an extended round of games. So we cannot afford extended round of games in an ICC tournament. We have to agree to that. But at the same time, making decisions based on one games, I don't think so. The BCCI would be going for it, even if BCCI would want to. Both Kohli and Dhoni are people who trust the team a lot, and they think a lot before tinkering with the team, and that's essentially why I think we would not make any changes. If at all there would be a change, it probably would be Bhuvneshwar Kumar getting replaced. Otherwise, I don't see any change in this team. Hardik Pandya will still play in the team, and Varun Chakravarti will still get a chance. And yeah, it's what it is going to be. And for me, Varun Chakravarti will perform in a better fashion against New Zealand, because they are not traditionally good with spin, and given that he is one of the most difficult spinners amongst the spinners that we have, will add to that weight, and they probably might lose a couple of wickets here and there against Varun Chakravarti. So Varun Chakravarti is not a bad choice against New Zealand, if you ask me. So I'd probably go with him instead of Ashwin, because Ashwin, though he is one of the senior most spinner, he's still someone who has been in the circuit for close to 12, 13 years now, and probably everyone knows that he's going to bowl an off spinner and then a rare carom ball. That's probably what his variations are, but it's been very difficult for people to predict what even Varun Chakravarti is bowling, because he's got a lot of training from Sunil Narine, being someone who is a KKR fan and been watching KKR from the start. I do know that what Sunil Narine and Varun Chakravarti bring to the table as for the KKR camp. So for me, Varun Chakravarti's presence against New Zealand will be definitely important, and it will be more important than what he was doing for Pakistan against Pakistan today.
Fair enough. And I think the mystery is there. Like, it's a do or die match. Like, it's almost there, right? Because I think the absolute battering that we took against Pakistan. Again, people who join in late, do smash that like and subscribe if you haven't. If you're new to the channel, again, great to have you on the channel. But of course, we didn't want you to come on this note. We are Indian supporters here, but we would like your opinions, even if you support any other country, because we would like to hear as in just what India is missing, because we all know India is a superpower when it comes to cricket. And I think it's high time that in ICC tournament something extra, something different. Like, it is time, and probably Virat Kohli has taken the right decision of stepping down from captaincy, because I think it's probably time for just to get that change. Sometimes the change helps, and Varun Chakravarti in the team is something that I would go with, also for the attitude that we mentioned earlier. His attitude is absolutely brilliant. Rahul Chahar is another kind of option, right? Because he is someone who also is commended for his attitude on the pitch. What about you, Prasanna? Again, we are playing New Zealand, our bogey team.
Before
Kane Williamson,
before
probably,
Prasanna
yes.
gets to answer that particular
Yeah,
question, I just wanted to talk something on Rahul Chahar as well. He's someone who gave 4 overs, 43 runs in the first warm up game, if I'm remembering it correctly. And the second thing, I have trouble with playing Rahul Chahar, not just Rahul Chahar, any leg spinner in the Indian team at this point in time, is because Virat Kohli most of the time doesn't win a toss, which means we'll be put to bat first, and the teams would want to look at the total and then start to bat in the second innings, right?
due.
When we start to bowl in the second innings, leg spinners, due to the due factor, will not get the ball right in the right points. So I mean, that is exactly the reason why Rahul Chahar might not feature in the future games, because leg spinners against due condition is going to be very, very difficult for them, because they have to release the
Yeah, fair
ball
point.
from the back of their hand. It's not
Of
like the
course.
off spinners; they cannot just wipe the ball and then chuck it, even if they cannot swing the ball
But why
or
even
spin the
take
ball.
them, right? I mean, that's my point. Like, why even take them to UAE? And the fact that we are having supposedly a balanced team, and we have been selecting from years together, voting who's going to be in the team and whatnot. At the end of the day, they are playing Hardik Pandya, who cannot kind of feel. I don't know. He cannot kind of bowl because he came off. Remember today he had a shoulder injury. He went for a scan, and Ishan Kishan was on the pitch during India's fielding in Pakistan innings. So I don't know, like that there might be direct change, Prasanna there. Hardik Pandya, as in, might be a forced change even, and even on form. Do you reckon that?
And
Yeah.
Prasanna, before you answer that,
Hmm.
maybe can you take this question as well while you answer
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Could Venkatesh Iyer be a proper replacement for Hardik Pandya if at all if at all he is injured and he's out of the squad, because he does both of it? So just asking your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah. And even if that is the case, then probably we can do that. And what we can do is probably promote Venkatesh Iyer to opening, and K. Rahul can even bat at number 5, because he has done that before. It won't be the first time he's doing that. And Rohit and Venkatesh Iyer, we know Venkatesh Iyer can go bang bang from ball 1. So Rohit Sharma can take that extra time and get
Left-hander
himself
as well.
into. Hmm?
Left-hander as well.
Yeah, exactly. Left hand, right hand, and Rohit can play the perfect foil for Venkatesh Iyer. And one thing with Hardik Pandya is this guy has been a myth, man. Seriously, I mean, why is he not bowling for so long? What is the problem with him bowling?
No, no, he is bowling. He is bowling. So I actually saw his. I don't know if you guys also saw, and people in the chat, you can mention if you saw that part or what. Just before the match started, he was directly asked, like, "Are you going to bowl today or not?" So he smiled and he said, "No, I'm not going to bowl today, but you will see me bowling in the tournament." So that means that he is bowling, but in bits and pieces in the nets, and it's a process. Again, when the process came, I know it's a team think tank, and basically you have all this analytics and whatnot and all these doctors. Trust me, like for so many years those things were not there. Didn't we function? Was Kapil Dev actually looking at all that? When you are in a World Cup, how many World Cups would you get? You don't even know whether you're going to play tomorrow. You have to
Exactly.
be. Why didn't he bowl today? Like he would have been an extra option. Like again, I don't want to be going in the rant mode, but yes, here we have Anil saying, thanks Anil firstly for joining. I hope you have subscribed and you're liking the content generally. Of course, not the rant, but yeah, Bhuvi out of form, Hardik injury, Ishan missing, Ashwin missed, so many mistakes. Yeah, as in that's why we are just going on and on. And honestly, I know that again taking from you guys, but we need to definitely commend Pakistan. Like honestly, if you really ask me, what
Yeah.
Pakistan has achieved today has been something of a grand kind of an achievement for them. This is probably one of their sporting events that has happened, like a big sporting kind of occasion that has happened today. And this is how big it is. Imran Khan has gone on record saying that Pakistan cannot win these matches because of the mindset. Babar Azam coming into captaincy and just treating it like a usual game. India also did that, but probably on the lines of overconfidence, whereas Pakistan did that to forget the past. And that's the difference that maybe we should take from Pakistan and teams like New Zealand, whom we are going to play next, because they don't have those IPL level kind of pressure every day, right? But they perform in the ICC tournaments. I don't know, Prasanna. I'll give the platform to you finally to kind of tell me, Evan, what is it majorly that you would do different? Of course, it's just one match, but we have to win that match. So New Zealand, what do we do?
Yeah. And you're saying about Pakistan. I mean, from start to finish, every single thing they wanted to do, they executed it perfectly.
Yeah.
Let's make no bones about it. From start to finish, they were the better team. We had slight moments in the game, but we never capitalized on it. When Pakistan did, they absolutely ran through. And that was the thing. They played the game and not the occasion, which is what many teams do when such a big game comes. They just try to play the occasion. They don't see it as another game, as another opposition. They try the opposition, they think that like they try to get it onto the opposition of the head. Oh, he's there. Oh, he's there. No, they're just players at the end of the day. Yes, they're good players. They have good abilities, but we should be confident in ourselves to execute our plans. I think it's the players should believe in themselves first. I know they're great players. Yes, some of them might be forced into. I think like it even begs the question, Spinner. Why the hell is Yuzbender Chahal not in the squad?
And Kohli is captain. Imagine, like, Kohli is captain and he's not in the squad. Like, a lot of questions. Again, it's going back to the 2019 World Cup already, at least in between the three of us, because there also that number four was a huge myth. Like, I don't know what happened there, why Ambati Raidu ended his career, was forced to end his career. Happens, unfortunately, sometimes in Indian cricket. I think the media also has a say because they kind of hype up a player too much. I know Hardik Pandya is probably what an Andre Russell can do. And Andre Russell, I know KKR, I know Vijay is a huge KKR fan. He knows that Andre Russell, you would carry him because he's that match winner, that X factor. But when it comes to World Cup cricket, where basically you are depending on two matches, and okay, three matches. I'll put Afghanistan. Prasanna reminded me. Yes. So Prasanna, it's Afghanistan, it's Pakistan, and of course New Zealand. Definitely not lose to Namibia, as those days have not come yet. But
You
that is
never
something.
know. I'm
Well,
not.
I don't know.
You can
T20
never
cricket.
put anything past any team ever. I mean,
Yeah, but again, those three matches, is it reason enough for Pandya to be even there in the squad? Like, can't we find a single hard hitting all rounder? He's not even an all rounder, single hard hitting batsman at number 6 or 7. Like,
Thakur is there. He is a hard
yeah,
hitting batsman. He can go for the shots.
so
He's
he's
not
he's
like
your
a
number 7 or number 8, you would say, but he's not really 6/7. He's more like a 7/8. I don't know if you're
yeah,
getting what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I get that.
So I think, yeah, then
So,
Anil kind of agrees that Chahar and Venkatesh Iyer missed. Venkatesh Iyer, we already spoke about. Yes, Vijay, please add any ideas there.
no, that's it. I mean, going again to the same point that we were talking about, having Hardik Pandya slotted in behind Jadeja, it doesn't make any sense. So, if at all Jadeja is playing up the order, then have Shardul Thakur play behind him. That's
Yeah,
exactly where he has to
fair
play,
enough.
right?
He got what,
Uh,
11 balls? He got, yeah, he literally played 11 balls. I'm sure Shardul Thakur is good enough
he
to
can play
score,
11 balls.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
actually a
Thakur
fair
can
point.
come in that seven. Obviously, you have the top four of the openers: Kohli, Surya Kumar, and then Pant, and then Jadeja, and then you can have Thakur. That is
Yeah,
the thing you can have. But I just hope we put in a better performance, man. See, we can take winning or losing. In sport, you
yeah,
Yeah.
win. In sport, you lose. Sometimes you might have a bad day. In case we wouldn't be overreacting like this if say game was poised 18 overs, 19 overs, and then one over you need 15, and one bad over happens. It happens. Sometimes you do have one bad over, or even if you're chasing 10 of the last over, you're not able to connect because you have to go for it. That happens. We get that. But the man of defeat is what is concerning.
yeah. In a World
The
Cup, and that too, like I think for what from 1975, we haven't lost in a single World Cup match against Pakistan. Like, it pains me, like literally pains me to even say that.
I mean, it
And
was
we have
going to
lost
come
that
one
Mauka.
day. It was
And
going
for
to
the
come one
viewers,
day, though.
watching this particular stream, before 1975, World Cup did not take place. So, in
Yeah.
essence, we haven't, lost against Pakistan before.
Wow. Isn't that's something
At
that
least one
again.
thing we have, at least in ODI World Cups, we haven't lost against Pakistan. Let's flaunt that
We'll
shamelessly.
stick. No, no.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it started off with ICC tournaments, and then with Champions Trophy we lost thrice, and then
yep.
now it's basically, it
T20
was
World Cup.
basically World Cup, and now the ODI World Cup. But yeah, then obviously the thing, records are meant to be broken. Again, we didn't give enough space to Pakistan in hindsight of us doing this stream. I feel that, but yeah, Pakistan
See,
definitely. I think they
for
deserve. They deserve to be in the semis. I'll directly put it out there.
Yeah.
If they win
So
this
so see,
tournament, I won't be. I will
surprised.
be the first to applaud them. As much as it
Yeah,
pains
it's
to say it,
England and Pakistan, right? Definitely, those are
as
definite
much as
favorites.
it pains to see and pains to say about Pakistan, they have deserved it. Look at their their team from top to bottom. They have Rizwan, who's an excellent wicketkeeper. They have Babar Azam, who's probably the best batsman on form right now.
Yeah,
You have the Fakar Zaman, who can destroy you like anything. You
yeah,
have
single
experienced
handedly.
people like Mohammad Hafiz and Shoaib Malik. You know what they can do. You have a hard
And
hitter in Asif Ali. You have Shadab Khan, who is a great spinner. You have Shaheen Shah Afridi. You know what he's going to do.
Hassan
And
Ali.
from top to bottom, they're a top side, man. And we are a good squad. I'm not saying we are a bad squad. We are a very good squad, but it's just that whether we can gel it up together, because we have only 4 games remaining. There is
Yeah,
no
so
time to um, cry over spilt milk. We just have to get going. And if we win against New Zealand, which I hope we do, it will get some confidence back. And one thing
you
about
mean
says
win, right? Obviously.
we need to win, but
Yeah.
whether we do it is another question or not. But if we win that, it would get back some confidence. But if we lose that, we don't deserve to be in the
Yeah,
semis
yeah,
even.
as in we are anyway out if we lose that. But yeah, as in quick thing, I actually missed an earlier point. I had actually literally forgotten because I was in such a mood that trust me. So that video that I noticed, right, about Shaheen Afridi. So Shaheen Afridi, obviously we know that in the recent couple of years, he's your next Mitchell Stark, and he's very similar to Mitchell Stark in the way that he bowls and everything, right? But the fact that he actually was interviewed just before the match again, and he mentioned about Mohammad Amir, and he mentioned about 2017 Champions Trophy, and he was humble enough to say that Mohammad Amir took 3 wickets. I think obviously we remember 2017 Champions Trophy final that again we were in the overconfidence mood very clearly, but he said even if I take 1 wicket, this will be the day for me ever in cricket. That's how humble, and basically that's you could see in the body language, and that's why he tried it even more. And trust me, today Muhammad Amir will be proud of Shaheen Afridi and even Wasim
Massively.
Akram. To be honest, I actually put him in that category. I have seen enough of him in the last 2 years to say that if he is really nurtured, and Pakistan unfortunately do not get so much cricket, and if they do at the topmost level consistently, this guy can become the next big thing. Like I don't know,
Facts.
Vijay, anything to add?
Yeah, I just when we talk about Pakistan, a couple of points that I wanted to add was like, first of all, Pakistan. Even if you take records for now, India versus Pakistan, the number of wins that India has against Pakistan is lesser than what Pakistan has against us.
Yeah.
That's because during the phase where we were trying to build a team from 83 back in those days, Pakistan were so strong with all these, mighty Pakistan bowlers and batsmen,
Yeah.
like starting from Wasim Akram, Imran Khan, so
You
many,
had Zaid Abbas
Ankit
and all.
Javed, yeah,
yeah,
a lot
Saeed
of
Abbas, so many players. Like we can just keep on naming those players. That is how much, like Saeed Anwar, Inzamam, until Inzamam ul Haq also. They had so many players that they were dominating against India. But at the time when India went on to top, like from Ganguly's period to the late Ganguly's period, and then when it started with Dhoni and all that, we stopped playing against them. The last that we played was in the
yeah,
month of
good point.
in the year of 2008, I guess,
No,
against
12-13.
September
We
or something.
had one
Yeah,
ODI
one
series
tournament
and
Test
exactly.
T20
match,
series. Yeah.
test match where I guess Dhoni scored a couple of 50s as well in that particular series. But that
Yeah,
was the
that
last
ODI
time we.
series, I remember we made Junaid Khan look like prime Wasim Akram.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
True, true.
exactly. That's towards the end. I mean, after that we did not play them at all. But then we were on the top of our game. We won a World Cup after that, and we've been doing predominantly good after the arrival of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma into the squad as well. But then we've not got chance to get back at them, in terms of performance. But these rarity of chances that we tend to get against them, we tend to lose them as well. That is the most, difficult thing that is for me to process as an individual, as an Indian fan. You get those chances once in 2.5 years, 3 years. Just make sure, prove to them that you are the best at this moment, because you can take out ICC rankings at this point in time, test rankings, one day ranking, everything. We are at the top except for the T20 ranking, of course. But you'll have to prove when it actually requires. And what
Exactly, exactly.
what more way you prove it rather than to prove it against Pakistan. And
And
you
it's a
you
few
talked
overs,
about that
right?
one. Yeah, and you talked about
Sorry.
that one wicket that Shaheen Shah Afridi was talking about, right? If even if I take that one wicket, that's the best game for me. That's the way that Pakistan look at this game. They have that energy, and they look at India in a different fashion than how we look at them, because we look at them as like, okay, another game, but they look at India as like a tournament in itself, a mini tournament inside the tournament. For them, winning against
Yeah,
India, they can
it's a
return home
big thing.
safely.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? You said it right, because for them basically winning a World Cup match against India even more so, but even winning against India, and then they've gone on record saying that they are basically having Virat Kohli and Dhoni as their idols, and that's a fact. Despite the rivalry, they've gone on record so many times, so many channels have kind of covered that, right? And that's a fact. But that's the difference for us. Basically, I know we play in a lot of tournaments, and the good part is we know the pressure situation. We should do well from that. But the fact that so many players have already won so many things very young in their lives, in the cricketing lives, in the careers, so basically for them that extra zeal is subconsciously kind of missing. And again, I might be speculating here. I know I'm being unfair on a lot of players because they would have worked extremely hard to get to the stage, but it all comes down to basically those 3 hours that you spend in the T20 match. And unfortunately, today was not the day. And honestly, if you really ask me at this point in time, guys, again, people in the chat, do comment. What do you think? For me, you all mentioned the squad selection. For me, it's definitely, I have to say, being an RCB fan, it is Kohli's captaincy, and the fact that we have to go and beat every team out there. Right now, if you ask me, I don't see us doing that. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I am fed up. No matter what I say, I am fed up of ICC tournaments, us bottling it, because India is cricket. Cricket is India. Like for us, basically, despite us not inventing the game, us not winning these recent ICC tournaments, I cannot take it just as a sporting fan, who's originated from India, right? For me, definitely, I want us to basically do us, and we should be expecting them to do it. So I would just we can go on and on about it entire night, and I know it's late for Vijay as well as myself and Prasanna. Thanks as well, but yeah, a lot of things we discussed, and again, any key pointers from the
Well, at
discussion
least
or
for
from the
me, it's
game that
just
you want
4
to
in the evening, so I can probably just soak it about it, just go out for a drive, have some good biryani, and probably just soak it up next day. Whereas you have to start off the week on this note, which
I
is
have no idea how I'm going to spend the night. For me, I know only thing I can be happy about, and obviously I'm talking about this because you guys know that we have a football channel as well, Almighty Blues FC. The link is below, and definitely looking at Manchester United, the way that they lost is reason enough for me to take some solace. But at the end of the day, it reminds me, oh, this is the World Cup. I cannot take solace from anything at this point in time.
yeah,
If you really ask
exactly.
me, it's Pakistan. It is the World Cup. It is Kohli's last as captain. For me, there are a lot of reasons to actually not take it normally, and I know I was kind of deflated, like Prasanna was, and Vijay would have also been. But as we were discussing,
Ankit,
automatically things came out. I don't know.
Ankit, this particular game looked like Norwich playing against Chelsea today. I mean, to be honest, that's how exactly we looked at. Like no fight at all.
Oh, and that's, yeah. And then again, no disrespect to Norwich, but I totally get what Vijay is saying here, because we were battered, humiliated, and that's something that we cannot see
Again, it's
happen.
like, sorry to cut you off. It's like your heart is being punctured out, and it's like
Yeah,
it's just a
I don't
you
know.
can't
Like,
It's
just
like a Telugu movie reference that Prasanna is trying to communicate now. Yeah.
is it? Anyway, no, so what I was trying to say, like, basically, I was trying to make notes because I knew that we would stream, and I was hopefully saying taking all positives, because Almighty Blues definitely believes in talking positives and being very rational at the same time. But after the 10th over of India's innings, I had stopped taking notes. I'll be very honest to you, and literally that is how it became, right? And that's not just me, and because I am basically a person who wants to basically make sure that we point out every little thing for everyone watching. But yes, anyone who's watching here, thanks for staying this long. Of course, smash that like, subscribe not only to Almighty Blues FC and Almighty Blues Cricket. Do subscribe, of course. Almighty Blues Cricket, we are trying to grow because we recently kind of opened a new channel from the Almighty Blues FC.
oh, he got cut off. So
Yeah. And not in a good position as well.
yeah, and like Yeah, so that's what he was talking about, going Almighty Blues Cricket, Almighty Blues FC, obviously Almighty Blues Cricket for all things cricket, Almighty Blues FC for things football, Chelsea, Premier League, whatnot. Obviously, we three being Chelsea fans, at least we can take solace from the fact that Chelsea is top of the table and we're doing well. I mean, probably, yeah, we can probably just hope and pray that we do well next week. And I think we, in the space of 9 days or so, we have the rest of the 4 games. We play next game on 31st, and then we'll play on 3rd, we play on the 5th, and then we play on the 8th. And then immediately, if we qualify for the semi-finals, it comes on 10th and 11th. So games are coming thick and fast. I think he will join back. I think it's some
Yeah.
internet connectivity issue. So closing thoughts, Vijay. I just hope he put in a better performance. Just some closing thoughts for you.
Yeah, I really wish that we put in a better performance against New Zealand. It's not going to be easy. Kane Williamson is on top of his game as well, and he's been doing good. Maybe he did not get that sort of an support when he played for Hyderabad, but with New Zealand, he's a different ball game altogether. Trent Bolt is going to be combining with, I guess, yeah. Who's the other one? The tall, lanky pace bowler. Um,
Lockie Ferguson? Or?
yeah, Lockie Ferguson would obviously be there, but I'm not sure if he's going to be playing in. Saudi and Bolt probably will be playing in, but alongside him, the one RCB recruited, the tall
Kyle
one.
Hemison. Kyle Hemison.
Yeah, Kyle Jamieson. Yeah, he's going to be in as well. So the New Zealand pace attack is not to be underestimated. Yeah, they do not have a very good spinning department, but Mitchell Santner can do a handy job at that. So New Zealand bowling department is going to be interesting and difficult to handle as well. In terms of batting, they have a very good batting lineup with Kane Williamson, and the wicket keeper is also Vijay Watling. I guess he's also a senior wicket keeper who's probably going to be contributing a lot in terms of the batting order. And otherwise, they've got Colin Munro, Colin the Grandome, and all these players who can contribute both with the bat and the ball. They are pace bowling all rounders, both of them, who just I mentioned, Colin the Grandome and Colin Munro. So it's going to be interesting how we face them, and we've got to come out of this game winning. Otherwise, this particular group might be lost a lost
Yeah,
cause for us.
I mean, just
yeah.
one thing. I mean, I hear some fans say, I mean, some fans are saying, oh, win or lose, we will stand by support by Team India. I mean, duh. I mean, that sounds stupid in itself. You are going to support I'm even if we lose every single match, I will support Team India. What do you think we're going to jump ship to support Australia, England, or what? I mean,
Exactly. It's like saying water is
just
wet. But yeah, then I hear
I mean,
you certainly. But I think we have to get in all the points. And before, as in the more we voice, we don't want to kind of get chop basically everyone in the team. No, that's not what we want. Here is something about what are the positives and negatives. Hopefully, we take a couple of positives. Maybe like we spoke about Varun Chakravarti, for example, like just his attitude on the pitch and just the application of certain players can be taken as an example by the others. But more importantly, as in being ready to change and not being so caught in that process is something that we don't want, because we don't want to get what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doing for Manchester United. But yeah, as in just putting it out there, some humor. But yeah, as in times again, sorry, my laptop told me it's high time. I've been in the stream for a very long time and taking too much time of
we can
Vijay and
talk forever
Prasanna.
and ever, man. But
As in obviously I can, but yeah, it's us about basically just venting out, hoping that we basically get out some points out of that maybe the viewers also agree. And if people watching do agree or do not, comment below. Like maybe if you're not comfortable putting it right now in the chat, maybe after the stream also you can always comment, because we will make sure that we will voice it in our next video. And I hope Prasanna and Vijay, while I was off, you guys got a chance to speak about your channels. Did you get a chance?
No, we
well, we
did
were
not.
just talking about the game, and yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, as in please. So I would like you to definitely know that you spend so much time, and even then, I love your channel. So you guys know that I'm always there as well. And of course, we have featured, in fact, both the channels. If you notice on Almighty Blues Cricket as well as on Almighty Blues FC, you can check out the featured channels, and we have featured Prasanna and Vijay for Sports already. So that clearly means that we genuinely believe as Almighty Blues that these are channels to follow, and these guys know their stuff. Definitely. So Vijay, firstly, I'll give you the platform. What are you bringing on your channel? Maybe you can just quickly, tell the viewers.
Yep, sure thing. We've got the Southampton game against Chelsea that is to happen in the Tuesday. We will be doing a match review. Post the match, because the match is actually happening too late. But so we'll do a match review on that, and we've got upcoming Chelsea games as well. So we will be doing a live. I will be live on CFC Chats and GNA TV as well as Football Terrace now. So you can watch me at multiple platforms. But otherwise, in terms of the Chelsea content, VJ for Sports, you can look at VJ for Sports for further more content Chelsea wise, and we're also bringing in a lot of live, commentary, not just for football but also for cricket. In fact, we've been doing an India Pakistan live match as well today. So we will be continuing to do all the India matches live for the World Cup. We will try and track that, and probably you can come there and have your say as well. So the next game for India versus New Zealand, I hope I can get you guys a complete live. We are streaming at multiple platforms, both Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, whatnot, everything basically. So so it's happening at multiple platforms. So you can reach me at any platform, and my Twitter ID as well is VJ Chelsea FC. You can reach out there if you need any help with anything else, or you want to talk to me. So
Great,
that's
great.
pretty
Thanks.
much
And
it.
again, the links are below. So again, it's a click of a button, guys. That's it. And obviously, the same goes for Almighty Blues as well as Prasanna's channel. But Prasanna, over to you. Of course, I've been on Prasanna's channel. Great channel, and he's been here multiple times. So Prasanna, anything to add?
Yeah, we all just fans trying to speak in front of a camera, trying to voice out our opinions. We don't want um we are not trying to be this big Don Dada thing and all. We're just normal fans. If we're able to, if we become so, then well and good. It's all by the grace of God and obviously subscribers and fan support. But anyways, whenever obviously get a chance, I'll be doing the Chelsea reviews as well as India team reviews. Obviously, me being in the US, it's hard being because of time differences and whatnot, and sometimes in weekdays when games happen when I'm working, so I don't get to catch most of them. So I can't give a review just by watching some few highlights. But I try to do the best as I can, and of course, it's been long since I have done a football game watch along. um, I'll be doing one soon, hopefully. And yeah, man, as long as this YouTube thing is there, and basically we're all just invested in our sports teams. We cannot
Yeah.
let them go come what may. So you can call us blind support or whatever, but it is what it is. We first saw a
Example
game.
is RCB. Come on, like if I can support RCB for so many years, you have the example right in
Good
front of you. Come
example.
on.
I mean, it's just one case, man. You see a game or you go to a stadium and that's it. You fall in love. That's it. Simple.
Yeah,
You there
that's
is
it.
no turning back. So hopefully more content coming on each other's channels, and yeah, man, we'll take this as far as we can and hope for the best.
Thank you again. And anyone watching, do click on the description links. Almighty Blues FC links are there, but more importantly, Prasanna and Vijay for Sports. Subscribe at no cost. We are open for feedback, and lot more content is coming up. Yes, Almighty Blues Cricket will come back with the big preview, hopefully towards the end of the week, and that is for New Zealand specifically. But also Almighty Blues FC, we are doing today. Yes, technically today in the part of the world that I'm living in is basically today that we're doing a review. Yes, it is a preview rather for the Southampton game, and we'll be reviewing the EPL game week as well. So stay tuned for that. It is basically at 11 p.m. Around 11 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So hopefully you all join there, and definitely share this stream so that we get our voice out there and see some changes. Until then, take care. Thanks again. Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.
Yeah.